My mother is okay, like I said, I wrote, never mind, all right, My mother is a San Francisco summer, and I mean that in the best way possible. She is 1 part beauty and 2 parts strength. She is all sofritos and frying pan. She is the best Puerto Rican food this side of San Juan, and she loves with one hand open and the other in a clenched fist. She raised the son in a city that is known for its crazy, San Francisco. My mother is beautiful concrete and fragile fog. She is bright harvest moon, golden glowing, hanging low between twin peaks, a lighthouse on California's coast, always guiding me home. My mama just moved to Pacifica, but she raised me at 358 Judson Avenue, San Francisco, where we learned to laugh when things got rough, where we had a pit bull named Sparkplug and a cat named Sky. Sadly, they both died. Where our door was always open and my homies came over every day to find food and save space. I was the only man of my mother's house, and still I've never built anything with my own hands. But I've lived in this city long enough to call it my home. And my mom has worked at the same job since before she knew the names of her children. She has always been more root than tumbleweed. Planted firmly, mama is as loyal as sun-cracked mornings, as consistent as twilight. Every night she would tell me she loved me, even on those nights when I was too teenage angst to say it back. But that is why it's so hard for me to see her have to move her life 3 times in as many years. Mama would never think that Twitter had anything to do with the fact that her rent continues to raise beyond her salary. But I have seen the writing on the wall, and it spelled out words like urban renewal and mass redevelopment. Things that are not new, but instead renewed and renamed every few decades. A cycle where people of color are forcefully displaced. My family was evicted from our home the same year Whole Foods moved down the block, right next to the new low-rise luxury apartments. This is a brutal deja vu, familiar, like the Housing Act of 1949 looks a lot like the blueprints for a new style of market. Like the Great White Flight of the 1960s is akin to Mark Zuckerberg moving into the Mission. My neighborhood is a chessboard checkered all black and white flight with bronze pawns moved to make room for rooks and castles. My mother is a casualty of the city's computerized civil warfare. She is San Francisco dividing itself into a Google Doc of .commerce, trying to buy us off with free bus rides while they drive us out of our own homes. And I'm standing on the corner of 16th and Mission, where it smells like decomposing corpses and boiled garbage. I pass the same group of folks every morning. I try not to let them see me hold my breath. Wonder if they can still smell the rotting flesh. Wonder if they see the doggy hotel across the street as they sleep under the freeway overpass. And if that irony makes them want to throw up as much as the smell of death makes me retch. I wonder if they notice the group of techies bar hopping in the Mission for the same reason they go to see scary movies, to get that pseudo feeling of fear while knowing they will be able to go home safely to their Hayes Valley oasis. I am standing on the corner of the Visadero in the heart of the Fillmore. Once known for its jazz music, it was called the Harlem of the West, before it birthed a blueprint for urban redevelopment. Now, maybe Harlem, a budding borough of hypergentrification, should one day be called the Fillmore of the East for that same reason. Both have been scooped out and made hollow. We are losing the places that bred our culture, from San Francisco to Chicago, from New Orleans to New York. But I have learned that there will always be a difference between resident and community, like there is a difference between development and displacement. My mother is not perfect, and she would make sure to tell you that herself. But she has cared for her community even when it cost her everything. And because of that, I cannot let her spend the rest of her life worried about her rent rising like high tides, carrying her farther down the coastline. She is a waterworn piece of San Francisco beach, sea green glass, smooth and very deep. She belongs to be in the city like gray days in July, and she was here long before the Twitter sphere. Long before drop boxes or squares ever arrived. So before you decide to travel across your Silicon Valleys and leave your Mountain Dews to become a new era of liberal 49ers rushing through Golden Gates, remember my mother is a San Francisco summer, and I mean that in the worst way possible. She is beautiful cityscape and San Andreas earthquake. She is all microclimate Caribbean island hidden beneath sewer streams. New money promise and the death of First Nation dreams. My mother is a tsunami waiting in bay water to wash away our sins. And if you can't respect that, then maybe you're not from around here.